I think it's professionalism. I think that while the Indian media is as free as it is in the United States, with a couple of exceptions, there still are some old laws from the British on the books that make it easier for people to sue for libel, that for someone to say they were defamed, their reputation was damaged. With a few exceptions, it's certainly as free as the United States, and it's vibrant. I think one thing is how cheap the media is and how much people read. Newspapers still are the main source of news for people in India. Television is about 47%, newspapers are about 53%. And so that's one exception. It's not uncommon for most families to subscribe to 2 and 3 and 4 newspapers. And then, of course, the families save all these newspapers and somebody comes and picks them up and they're recycled. So that's one difference, is that people still get their news from newspapers despite all these satellite news channels. I think, other differences. Professionalism. I think that the media is growing so quickly that there really aren't enough universities and professional organizations yet to help journalists learn how to be professional, learn how to be impartial, learn how to be independent, to learn how to be ethical. There's a lot of sloppiness and unprofessionalism in the Indian media still, and bias. There's a lot of bias in reporting, and so on the good side, you'll see it's not uncommon for local newspapers to have armies of part-time correspondents using their mobile phones to catch corrupt policemen or to show problems with the road or show the incompetence of government. And this will all be reported on TV and in the radio, but these are kind of armies of part-time correspondents that have been recruited to be watchdogs. And they're not as professional as they could be. And I think in a lot of the Indian press, there's sort of a rush to judgment. One of the big examples I use with students was in November of 2008, when there were the terrorist attacks on these luxury hotels in Mumbai. The news media actually was reporting, all these satellite news channels were reporting in real time what the army and what the police were doing to try to recapture these luxury hotels from these Islamic extremists. And the Islamic extremists had their very sophisticated mobile phones and could watch the Indian television from where they were hiding out with their guns and grenades and so forth. And the media was actually helping the terrorists. Now, in the West here, we have some very firm and fixed guidelines about how we report incidents of terrorism so that we don't aid the bad guys, so that we don't help the bad guys. And it's that kind of professionalism that has kind of yet to take a real root in a lot of the Indian media.